So in the last session, right, we discussed about the installation of the Terraform, and also we discussed about we saw an example, right, like how exactly we can create one EC2 instance, right? So this is an example we saw it, right? And where in the whenever you're creating any Terraform file, you should have a .tf extension. So this is something like a main dot. This can be anything. You can give any name, but the extension should be .tf, right? So this is what the example we saw actually in the last session, and we saw even that we are providing an access key and the secret key, so directly over, so that I will be able to connect to the AWS, and then after connecting to the AWS, that is with the help of a providers, finally you can create any kind of resources actually, right? So what we will do today is that actually we will try to continue over today, you know, accessing or creating some more resources using a Terraform file actually. So what is our agenda toward today? Terraform-Day 3 session. So we will try to check or we will try to see how to create a VPC, okay, how to create a VPC, how to create a subnet, as well as we can even see how to create a key pair. I want to create a key pair. Also, I can also even check how to create a security groups, right? And what else? And we can even understand about like how to create an AMI, right? I want to create an AMI. So there are different ways of creating an AMI, as well as how to copy an AMI. Suppose like I want to copy the AMI from one region to other region. How to do that? So these are some of the stuff, sir, we will be learning today. Okay. So before that, let me understand one more time, like how to create. So I'll do the same thing. Like let me create a directory. I will create the same directory as I created the last session. So AWS Cloud. Okay, sir. So today also I'll create a same main.pf file. So what I will do, basically, I have a machine which I've already, which already in this machine, right? I have installed the Terraform. Okay, so the last session, whatever we had the Terraform, right? Same thing. This is the same server. It's not a same server. I reinstalled it and I installed the Terraform package. Everything, all setting is done now. So this server, right, where the Terraform is running. So I am into the same server. I logged into the same server, right? And I'll be creating a Terraform file. Plus, what happened? I have created a AMI user account, and that AMI user account, the access key and secret key is already there. I've already copied it. So what I will do, I'll just try to copy the same stuff actually. Okay. So here, what happened? Region you have to always give because you are into the Northern Virginia. The Northern Virginia, the code is the region code is East US East -1. Right now, this is what it is there. In the last session, if you have seen what I did, right, I went to the Google and I just say Terraform AWS providers, correct? So when I go with the Terraform AWS providers, I can click onto the first link. Here, you have already landed into the AWS provider. If you come down, we took the section of this as a first, right? So whatever we have into the main.tf, we already have this section that is a providers, right? And then how exactly later we will see how exactly we can create a variable and we can use the access key and the secret key with the help of a variables, we'll see. So this is basically related to the credentials and authorization, right? So this we have seen it. Okay, now what I did later, I came down here because this is very important, sir. I came down here so you can get to the EC2 instance, right? EC2. Under the EC2, we know that we went into the AWS underscore instance. So AWS underscore instance. So if you open the AWS instance, right? In the last session, we saw that I just copied this resource actually, but we didn't understood about complete stuff. So what I will do basically, So I just copied this stuff and then I try to understand what exactly the resource knows the AWS instance. So you know that with the help of AWS instance, I'm able to create a you know EC2 instance, right? So but all these things we skip this one. But what we'll do, I will try to copy this stuff, the complete stuff here. Sorry, I think I have to copy it here. Calm down. Yeah, till here I'll copy it. So I don't think I'll go here over here and I'll just paste it actually. So now what exactly this means actually? See now here we have something no is a new something is a data actually. So what is a data? So you need to provide the data. What is the data? The data is AWS AMI, and the AMI AWS AMI is Ubuntu. So this is nothing but the variable. This is a predefined variable within AWS, and this is nothing but the value actually. You can put anything here, but since you are using Ubuntu, you what you are trying to understand that you say that Rajesh, I want to create a Ubuntu as an instance, EC2 instance. So that is what I'm using it. Suppose if you are using Amazon Linux, you have to mention here Amazon Linux. Okay, and here you have something like a most recent, whichever the most recent Ubuntu image is there, right? That it will try to take, right? But here what is happening is that when you provide this data again with for this data, you're filtering some more things. So here you're using filter. So what you're filtering, the name. What is the name you're filtering? It means that out of all the Ubuntu images, sir, I am looking for a value of this stuff actually. Ubuntu slash image HVM HTTP like this. This is what it means, that you are just filtering. There are out of many Ubuntu images which is having that, you are just filtering that you want this value or this image with this value. Again, furthermore, you are drilling down and you are again filtering that again with this images. Wherever you will find the value HVM under this, that you are filtering. Here you are filtering with the name virtualization type and you are filtering with the HVM. Means here what happened, you are twice you are trying to filter it out to try to understand what exactly the image you require. And here at the end you could see that the owner what you have mentioned is some number actually. It means that whoever the owner for this image, right, only take only that owner actually. So if you take this, suppose that if I copy this, if I copy this owner and if I go to my AWS instance, so I'll go to the launch instance here. Now here in this last instance, I can copy paste that. I can paste that owner ID and then say enter. Now you could see that there are 1,000. Here you have 14,389 results are there. Click on this. Now you could see that the top you could see that Ubuntu images HVM. Can you see here? This is matching, right? So it means that basically you are trying to understand or you are trying to filter down like what kind of an image you require while creating an institute instance, right? And here what is happening that you have given the owner ID like this and it is a canonical. You can see it's a canonical Ubuntu, correct? Now, so this is some kind of a data which you are furnishing, right? And here, this is as usual, like we have a resource. And what is a resource? AWS instance. It means that you need to create an AWS instance with the name web actually. You can give your name itself. In the last session, I gave a name something like my cloud server, right? You can give that also, no problem. This is something like you are giving your own name actually. This should be your name, my cloud server. And here, what is the AMI you need? In the last session, we saw that I choose the AMI of Amazon Linux actually, right? This is what I choose, right? This I chooses and I copy pasted here. But I'm not doing that here because what is happening that here AMI, it is taking a reference actually. So what is the reference it is taking? You could see that data dot AWS AMI. You could see data of AWS MI of Ubuntu. Okay, it means that actually here you are not passing a direct value, you are taking a reference for this data. Now you know that if you take a reference of this data, data.aws AMI dot of Ubuntu, it means that basically you are referring to this image actually. So because you are filtering it out and finally you are actually looking for the image which is having this owner ID. So what it will do that it will try to check in your in your while choosing the AMI, right, you have to try to check who is the owner ID. With this owner ID, whatever this value we have, right, and in that also whatever the virtualization type is HVM, choose that image actually. So here what is happening that we are not giving any direct value, we are taking a reference from the data provided by it. So basically what happened at here in this case, you are creating an instance of a Ubuntu of a type, Ubuntu type, and this is what the value or this is what the image, with this image you are trying to search, and here you are specifying it. And you could see the instant type is T3 micro. I mean, you can choose as a T2 micro, not T3 micro, right? And here you can give again tag also, you can give any, you can give the same name like my cloud server. So here again, I'm saying that here you're using AMI, but what is happening? You're taking a reference of the data. What is data dot or of AWS MI of Ubuntu, and specify the ID, specify the variable, some ID. So I'm specifying a variable as an ID itself. So you are taking a reference. So this is provided by you within this resource, but these things dot data dot AWS dot Ubuntu, right? You are taking a reference from the some other data actually. Like other data means here only you have furnished the data. What is data dot AWS dot Ubuntu or dot ID, right? So and then you are creating a creating an instance of a T2 micro and you are giving the tag. So let me save this, right? Now you know that I created AWS cloud directory and I created a TF. So whenever you're creating any new directory and whenever you are having created a Terraform file, always you should uh, run a Terraform init, right? If you execute the Terraform hyphen help we saw in the last session, but I should initialize it because you need to prepare a work directory for any other commands to execute further, right? So, but what I will do, let me before I do a init Terraform init, let me do one thing. Let me run a Terraform plan actually. Let me check if it runs or not actually. Now you could see that it's giving error inconsistent dependency log file, and it says that actually you have to first run the Terraform init, right? So without the Terraform init, you cannot run any other command. So first execute the Terraform init. So what happened, right? It is going to basically add the plugins and all, like because you need to get connected to the AWS, right? So you need to have all those plugins of the AWS. So you need to have an AWS kind of a library to connect it, API to connect with. That's what you have to execute the command Terraform init. So once that is done, yes, now you can say Terraform plan. So this we already understood that this is a dry run. So before you apply it, we just to see whether what exactly the Terraform apply will do. Before the Terraform apply, we will do a Terraform plan to just to check what exactly it is doing, right? So it says that actually it is able to add one plan, means that you are able to add one instance. Okay, then you will say Terraform apply, and you will say yes. So it is creating a instance. This is what we see, but in the last session we directly gave an AMI, but here now we are just taking a reference from some data actually. So if you go carefully with all the documentation of your AWS provider, right? Whenever you are going to any resource, basically the resources will be referring to some data whichever it requires. It means that it might look for some default data or it might look for some specific data. So that's what happened that you will see this kind of references in each and every example. Whenever you went through in detail about all these different resources, right, you will see these things being used actually. It means that you are not directly using the value or you are not directly putting the value. You are referring a data from some other reference data actually like that. Okay. So now what happened, right? If you see it, yeah, it is completed. It's able to create it. Now, if you go to your cloud and if you just to see it has created with the name my cloud server, right? So this is what it is. Now, if you don't want it, you can just say Terraform destroy, right? You don't want the resource now, you can just destroy it. So this is all we saw in the last session. Correct, guys? So I hope that you don't have any doubts here in this case, because this is a very simple, right? Just let me know if you have any doubts actually. So till here, I think we were comfortable. I mean, this is what we did in the last session also. Correct. Now, what we are going to do now is that actually now we are going to understand about how to create a VPC. Suppose, like for example, if you come to the same documentation, if you come down, so here he has given an example how to use a basic AMI lookup. Actually, through a data reference, you are able to look through some AMI, and through that AMI, we are trying to create a AWS instance resource, right? That's what we saw. But if you want to further drill down, you say that Rajesh, I want to create a VPC, right? I want to create a VPC, I want to create a subnet, I want to attach some IP address to some network interface. You want to do many other stuffs, like you have this complete example actually, right? But before we get into the uh, execution of these commands and everything, like I want to just understand from you that are you aware of a VPC? Do you know about what is a VPC? Can anyone tell me what is a VPC? Because in upcoming sessions, right, we will be showing that how to create an ad gateway, what is a transit gateway, what is a VPC, and also we will see if in case if you have a time, we will see how to do a VPC peering and all. Like, but basically you might have some knowledge, right? So that's what. See, one important thing about Terraform is that actually whenever you have started working on Terraform, you should also know about the cloud working also to some extent. At least you should have a knowledge on certain things in the cloud. Means like how to create a VPC, how to create a snapshot, how to create a EC2 instance, how to create a security groups, how to create a volumes, right? And how to create a ELK, how to create a ECR. Many other things are there which we should know actually. There's a prerequisite actually. If you don't know also, what you can do, you can learn, and you can learn that thing in a cloud, and then later you can come back to the Terraform and try to understand. But what happened, right? It is always mandatory, or it is always better that you should know uh, many of the resources or services which we use in a AWS cloud actually. Like as I said, like EC2, S3 bucket, load balancer, network load balancer, application load balancer, Route 53, RBS, RDS, and what are the other services we have? Like for example, key pair or security groups, like that, and VPC. When it comes to networking, it comes to VPC and all, right? So we should know some information on this stuff actually. So just I want to know, like from you guys, like are you aware of it? Because like if you're not aware of it, I will take some 10-15 minutes of time to just to explain like how exactly we can create VPC and all in AWS. Then I will get into the Terraform, like what exactly. Then you will understand very easily what is these things. Is that is fine? How do you want actually? Because I want to know from you guys whether you are aware of VPC. If not, I will just explain you some few minutes on VPC creation, subnet, and everything. So that will be a kind of a good exercise for all of us to understand how VPCs are created, how routing tables are created, what is subnets, and all.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think it would be fine for recap.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Now, see, basically what happened, right? We know that AWS or Azure or Google Cloud or any most of the clouds are a public cloud actually. We know very well, right? All these things. We know these things that AWS or Azure or you have your GCP or any other cloud, right? Like even DigitalOcean or else Alibaba. Most of this cloud are public clouds actually. It means that whoever want, right, he can go and he can create or he can use the service which is provided by this cloud, because all these clouds are open. Anybody can, even the PM also can go and he can create a he can create an EC2 instance, or we can call it a VM, virtual machine. He can create in AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, right, for his own purpose. Or anybody willing to procure some service, they can go and with the help of a some account, right, he can able to create it. So that's what it is, public. But whereas there are many other are there which are which are private actually. Like for example, we have VMware companies, vSphere, right? vSphere Cloud, and we know OpenStack. So there are many other clouds are there which are private cloud actually. It means that this is not uh, applicable to the common public, right? So what VM will do, they have their own cloud, and they use the cloud for themselves, as well as they will give the cloud service to their customers, because VMware has many products, right? So they don't want to expose all their products to, as a publicly. They want to keep it in a very very conservative way. So that's what, like, they have the private cloud, right? So only those services, whoever goes with the VMware vSphere or service, right? So they will have the private cloud. It means that no other person can access. Whereas the Azure, AWS, and GCP, it's a public cloud, right? Now, what is happening is that actually, if you come to the region, right, we know very well that we have a region. Within a region, we have lot of availability zones are there, right? Within each and every availability zones, you can create n number of machines. Like there are many servers are there, right? So if you see the architecture, we know very well that we have a region right here. If you consider this one, we have North Virginia, right? North Virginia. The code of the North Virginia is US East 1. So under the North Virginia, you know that there are many regions are there, sir, actually, like this, right? There are many regions are there. So if you go with the Northern Virginia has some six regions, sir. Like I'm just drawing some two regions actually, two or three regions actually, right? Now, if you go through this actually, if you go through this, if you go through this, how I can show you? If you go through EC2 dashboard, right? So this is Northern Virginia. If you come down, now you could see there are so many availability zones are there. See, US East 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. See, there are six zones are there actually. So this is one of the region where you have six availability zone, or as many other zones, right? Many other regions, sorry, they are having either three or four, or max two or three, not six. They don't have. So one typical example is that one North Virginia. They are having more than two three zones are there, like six zones are there. This we call it as a availability zones actually. So if you consider here, so this is something like US hyphen east hyphen 1A. See, if you see it, see, this is 1A, like this. I will use small. Similarly, this availability zone is US hyphen east hyphen 1B. Similarly, this is 1C, like that. So this we call it as a availability zone actually. Availability zone. Okay, these are different availability zones, and within the availability zones, right here, what is happening that you create an instance. So here, what is happening is that you have lot of servers are there like this. So basically, you have lot of servers like this actually. Like this, lot of servers are there. Hundreds of servers will be there in each and every. This is something like a single data center, sir. What we have like this. So this is how it is. So this is what the architecture of your like this, sir. So this is the but this is the availability zone actually. So this is availability zone, and within this availability zone, this is something like a data center. What we have in that, you are having hundreds of servers, sir, actually, and this is one server. If you take this one server, right, this is one server, sir. Okay, if you take this one server, suppose if I take this server, this is one server, sir, actually. So this is one server. This is one big server, sir, like this. This is nothing but your physical server, actually. This is one physical server, and you know that how they do, right? In this physical server, what they will do, they will install some hypervisors, sir, actually. They'll install the hypervisor like this. So this is nothing but your hypervisor. Hypervisor. Okay. Microsoft Hyper-V is there, right? Like Microsoft's Hyper-V. Just to give an example. Okay, hypervisor, Hyper-V is there, right? So this is what, and here this thing in the single, with the help of a hypervisor, you can create n number of machines, actually n number of virtual machines like this, based on the resource, whatever the resource is provided by that physical server, right? Based on that, based on the existing physical server resource, right? You can create n number of servers actually. Now, whenever I go and I allocate here, I'll say EC2 instance. I'll click. I'll try to allocate one instance, right? I'll try to allocate one instance, right? So what happened at this server, one instance is getting created. Basically, this one instance is not one VM is getting created. So this VM is getting created, and you know that all these servers, right? They are actually connected with a common network, sir. Actually, right? They are connected with the common network like this, actually, like this. So like this, they are connected with common network like this. They are connected to the common network. Okay. So this is the common network, and you know that actually when I go and when I allocate from the Northern Virginia, I allocated any machine, right? What it will do, it will try to allocate this server to me, sir. This server to me. So this is nothing but your my server. Now tomorrow, if Naresh or Shivam goes and if they go to Northern Virginia, and what they will do, right? They will try to allocate any new machine, or they try to launch any new instance. What it will do, right? It will allocate this machine to you. Now we know very well that actually, because like we are under the same physical server, and this is my machine which is allocated to Rajesh, and this is the machine which is allocated to Shivam or anyone, right? Now what happened, and these are all sharing the common network. So there is a chance, right? So I might have my important files or my important project is running into this machine. So Shivan can hack it, right? Easily, right? Because we're in a common network. So if suppose he somehow he try to get the common credentiality to log into this machine, or through somehow he can log into the machine, right? And he can hack my all my data, right? So that is not a proper way, right? So that's the reason what is happening, that you need to, whenever any machines are allocated, right? You that machines will be allocated, that machine will be created in particular in some particular VPC actually. So with the help of a VPC, we are able to bifurcate the network from one machine to other machine actually. So through that way, what is happening, that you are trying to create a network, so that actually you will not be able to easily communicate from one machine to other machine, even though those machines are allocated to two different users from the same physical server actually. So that's the reason what happened, that you need to create a VPC, and you could mention that okay, I'm working on some particular subnet. So that what happened, right? You will try to, and of course, like a lot of other things will come, like security groups, firewall, and all. We will see later all those things. But basic idea is that actually we creating a VPC to bifurcate the network between the two different machine, or two different users, so that they will not be able to communicate each other. Okay, so you are creating a kind of a boundary, like, so because we are creating VP, so this server is working under particular network, and this server will be working under some particular network, so that this network differs, hence we will not be able to ping each other, or we will not be able to communicate each other. That's how the idea of the VPC is actually. So now what is happening is that actually I need to create a VPC. So VPC subnet and all, right? These are all free of cost. You can create it, so you will not get any charges for that, right? In the address. Now, how what I will do now? I think, or else I'll go with the same diagram here, or else what I will do right here. So I will create for my project, right? I will create some three servers. One is a web server, other the app server, and there's a DB server. These three servers I need actually to my project actually, and all these servers or all these applications, they are allocated into the different zones actually. So these are the different zones, right? US East 1A, 1B, and 1C, right? So what I will do, right? Basically, I will try to create a VPC. So how to create a VPC? So I'll just say, so this is a kind of a VPC which I am creating for these three servers, sir. These three servers. Okay. Or else this is a VPC I'm creating. This is a VPC I'm creating for this, right? This is the VPC which I'm creating. And here what is happening, that let me give for the VPC, I have to provide the CIDR block range. It means that I have to provide the IP address range. So the IP address range, what I will be using over here is for this is nothing but 10 dot 10 dot 1.0.0/16. So this is nothing but, or else I can give 10.0.0.0/16. This is the CIDR block range which I am giving for this particular VPC. Clear, sir? Now what I will do that I will try to create a VPC for this three, because these three machines, right? This is machine one, machine two, or machine or server one. So this I will mention here, like here, server one. This is server two, and this is server three. So I need to create a VPC, and then later once I create a VPC, because these three servers are in different zones, right? Different zones. I can create a subnet, a three subnet for this zones. Three subnet I can create, and I can allocate this server. Each and every server will be running under three different subnet actually. And once we create a VPC, what happened, right? It will become, it says that actually you are trying to make all these three servers to work under a particular VPC. It means that these three machines can communicate to each other even though they are in a different subnet actually, right? So to do that, what I will do, I'll go to the server, I'll go to the I'll go to the EC2, I'll go to the AWS account. Here, what I will do, like I will try to search for the VPC. So what I will do, I'll just try to open any new tab. Okay. So what I will do, I'll go to the new tab. So I'll go to the VPC here. Now you could see that actually that yeah, there is something like a create VPC. So I can create a VPC here over here. I have to give some VPC name actually. So what I will do, because this is the in the diagram, I'm something like I'm using some blue color, right? So let me say, let me use a blue VPC something. I'm giving some names, sir. Blue VPC. Okay. And here, what I have to give a CID range actually. So I'll give the same thing, 10.0.0.0/16. Okay. And here, nothing is there. Okay. We can just say create VPC. See, it has created a VPC, and you could see that it is creating a VPC ID. Now, always, sir, whenever any VPC is created, right? Whenever VPC is created, even by default, security group and routing table is also created by default. Okay. So this is what it is you have to remember. It means that whenever VPC is there, so always security group routing table will be attached to the VPC, sir. That's all. So this also by default will get created. Later we will see, or we'll check it out later. Where are those security groups, right? Now here the VPC is created. So I'll just copy this VPC ID. I'll go to the your VPC, right? You could see that, see, blue VPC is created actually, or else you could see that this is the VPC ID. So what I will do, I'll just click on this VPC ID. I'll go to the action, just say edit DNS host name, and you just do an enable and save it actually. So this is one thing you have to do. Now, once you have created a VPC, that is a blue VPC. Now what I have to do, I have to create a subnet actually. I have to create a subnet. To do a subnet, you could see that. So you can go again, you can copy this VPC ID. Okay, here you can go to the subnet. Okay, already there are some default subnets are there. So I'll go and I will just paste this VPC ID. So this is a VPC ID. So what I will do, I'll just try to create a subnet. So just say create a subnet. So what is a VPC ID you have to give? So you have to select the blue VPC, right? This is what it is. And here you have to give what is the subnet name. I'll give something like that, as a subnet -1. Okay. So first subnet. So what is the zone you want to create? Where you want to go? So I will be creating under US East 1A because this is one of the availability zone, right? I will click here. And now here what I will do, I'll say 10.1.0.0/16. slash 16. You have to, or slash 24. Sorry, not 16, 24. You have to use. So this is the subnet you are providing here, and you'll say create. So what it says, CID is not available. Okay, you what because why because it is 10.0.0 you are given. So I have to say 10.0.1.24 you have to give like this, and you have to just say create subnet. So you have created one subnet, right? Like that way you have to create one more subnet. Create a subnet. Select over here blue VPC and come over here. You can say subnet one or subnet two. Sorry, subnet two. You can create. What is the availability zone? I'll give 1B this time, and then I'll say 10.0.2.0/24. Second subnet, and I'll say create. So, so in this way, I'm trying to create subnets actually. So create subnet again, blue VPC. What is the subnet name? Subnet hyphen 3. What is the region? Oh, sorry, what is the availability zone? This time I'll pick the third one, US East 1C, and I'll say 10.0.3.0/24, and I'll just say create subnet. So now you could see that there are three subnets got created. If you go to the VPC again, and here if you click onto the blue VPC, you need a VPC ID. You can copy this VPC ID, and again you can come to subnet and just paste over here and say enter. See, all these three subnets, subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3, are created under this VPC ID. See, this VPC ID at the end you can see ABB8, right? You have created these three VPCs, sorry, these three subnets under the same VPC. It means that under the same, under this one VPC, you have created three subnets. This subnet is what? So this subnet is nothing but 10.0.1.0/24, right? Similarly, I'll create this, I'll write it here 10.0.2.0/24. This is another subnet, the second subnet, and the last subnet is 10.0.3.0/24. Right, sir? Three subnets you have created, and these three subnets, it is a part of your VPC subnet. The VPC. What is a VPC? The VPC is blue VPC, two hyphen VPC. Correct? कौन सा टैक्सी 100 रुपए 100 रुपए so so that's what we created a VPC and we created a subnet. Clear, sir, till here? Now what I told, right? By default, the security group and the routing table is created. If you go here and you can copy this VPC ID, and go to the routing table, and then just click, give this VPC. See, these are default routing table. It is already under, you are under routing table. You have created default route. You can give like this. You can give a name to VPC or blue default routing table RT like this. You can change the name so that you will understand. Okay, these are default ones, sir. And you could see the routes they are given, everything. The the routes they have given here, right? And there's a subnet association, fine. So what in the routes they give actually? In the routes, what they give, right? Now these are local routes. It means that if this machine server one, it want to communicate server two, or server two want to communicate server three, or these three machines want to communicate each other, they can use a local route. See, they can use this local route, right? They can use this local route. Now, but what is happening that this, if these three machines, which are the three different subnet, if they want to communicate to the outside world, suppose here you are having a net, and here is some machine is there actually. Here is one machine is there. Whenever you want to communicate outside world, here this VPC, it cannot communicate outside world, because, right, you are communicating with each other. You are having a VPC, fine. You are communicating each other with your own local subnet or this three subnet. So there is no way where you can send a traffic to the outside world. So to do that, actually, suppose like you want to communicate outside world, then you should have a internet gateway. Like you have, say, internet gateway you should have. It means that here what you have to do, that you have to create an internet gateway like this actually. So this we call it as a IGW, Internet Gateway. IGW, Internet Gateway. So through the Internet Gateway, what you can write, you can set a traffic to the Internet Gateway, and from the Internet Gateway, you can send a traffic to any of this machine which is running under this VPC. So Internet Gateway should always be there, sir. So what the Internet Gateway will do, Internet Gateway will try to communicate from your outside network to the inside VPC servers which are with to the inside machine which are there in that particular VPC. Clear, sir? So here what is happening is that, so what you have to do is that you have to even you have to even create a internet gateway also, right? So now what is happening is that you are having a default routing table, correct? You're having a default routing table, but what I will do that I will create my own routing table actually. So I create one routing table, my own routing table. What I will say, blue new something routing table. I will create a new routing, my own new routing table. What is it? I will attach to my blue VPC and I will just say create routing table. So you can use with an existing only, but I will create my own new routing table. See, you are having your own new routing table. Here what happened, right? This has a default. It means the default it can actually it can communicate with your local, it will use this actually. But here what happened, that I am creating my separate new routing table. If you have a route, see here also it has the local only. Create, sir, correct, local only, right? Now what you will do, you can go to the new routing table, you can go to the subnet association. Here what is happening is that actually you go to edit, or you can go to the submission association. Here you have edit submit association. You can click over here. You have to add all these three subnets, and you have to say save association, because you are adding this subnets, all the three different subnets to your new routing table, right? So you have to always do a subnet association. You have to do always, you have to click over here and you have to do. Now what is happening is that actually now you need to communicate your machine to the outside world. So you need to have, or you need to allocate a internet gateway. To do that, you have to come over here, just click on the internet gateway. So I'll do a right click, I'll create an internet gateway. So there are many things are there, sir. You have internet gateway, you have a, see, you can go through the transit gateway, right? You have an endpoint service, you have a NAT gateway. We will discuss these things later on actually. So the important things are transit gateway, internet gateway, as well as NAT gateway. So they will ask a difference between what is a difference between NAT gateway and transit gateway. That and all we will discuss later. So what I am doing right now, I want to allocate a internet gateway. So I just clicked on here and I came to internet gateway here, create a internet gateway. So what you will say, blue IGW, internet gateway, I'll say, okay. And you come down and you just create it actually. See, you created a internet gateway. But here what is happening in the actions, you have to go and you have to say attach to which VPC. I want to attach to the blue VPC. So you are attaching to the blue VPC. See, you have attached it. Now what happened, right? Now you have attached your enter gateway to the particular VPC, that is blue VPC. Clear? Now what you will do that. Now what else is required? What else is required? You need a, okay. Now the subnet association you did, yes. Now what is happening, that now you have to say that suppose you want to send a packet from your server, or any of the server and server to server to the outside world. So it means that you need to edit the routing table also. So it means that apart from this, apart from this subnet, any other packet you want to send to any other IP address, it has to go via the internet gateway, right? So to do that, what you have to do, you have to come over, click on here, you have to go to the routes, okay, edit the route. So what you will do, add the route, you will say apart from this, network, any other, like for example /0, anything, any IP address, whenever you want to send to the outside world, you have to go to the internet gateway. So what is the internet gateway? Blue internet gateway, I already assigned it. And then you have to say save changes. Clear, sir? Now you could see that you are having, now you have assigned everything now. Correct, sir? Now, if you come down over here, you could see that you are having a security group. Click on to the security group. Even the network access control also will be allocated, but right now I'm not going. If you go to the security, under that you have security groups. So under the security groups, see, you have some default security group, as well as if you see your VPC, right? This is your where is your VPC, sir? This is nothing. Okay, I'll just again go to the. So you could see that this is my VPC ID, right? This is my VPC ID. I can copy this again, and here what happened? This is my security groups. So I'll just copy paste this ID. See, this is what the default security groups which is created. Correct, sir? So this is nothing but the blue default security group HG. See, correct? So this is the default security groups are actually. Now you could see that it is having a inbound rules and outbound rules actually. So in the inbound rules, nothing is there. In the outbound rules, right? What is inbound rules? Edit inbound rules. So all the traffic is there. Okay, okay, all the traffic is there, or else you can say that customer any IP address, like actually save that one. All traffic anywhere. We need to specify IP4. Huh? This is the inbound rule. Okay, I think I have to touch the outbound rule actually. Okay, or else I'll do one thing. So let me create my own security group, sir. I'll create my security group. Okay, do new security group actually. I'll give the same description. Okay. So what is a VPC ID? See, you could say this is a VPC ID. I'll copy it here actually. This is a blue VPC ID. Correct? And here what happened, right? Add a rule actually. So custom VPC. I will now what I will do, I'll say all traffic actually. So where is it? Okay. And then in the outbound also, I can do the same stuff actually. It's already there actually. Then you can say create security groups. So you have a new security group now, sir. Correct. So now everything is done, sir. Now what I can do, I have to create an EC2 instance now. So you can go here. Now you can say that, okay, Rajesh, I want to create. Now everything is done. So as per my knowledge, the VPC is created. Subnet, you have created all the three subnets, fine. And then in the routing table, we have added the routing table, and we also did the association. If you go back here and if you go to the subnet association, all these three subnet associations are there. Internet gateway is already there, fine. And then we are having a security group. We created a security group, fine. Everything is fine, sir. Now what I will do, I will just try to procure a server, or else try to create a server. So I'll go to the launch instance. Okay, I will just say Amazon Linux itself. I'll just select this. I'll go to the T2 micro itself, sir. I'll go to the T2 micro and I will just say next. Here you could see that by default, whenever you are doing all these days that we were just doing the next, right? Now what I will do, I will not here in the network. I don't want the default. I want to do my blue PC. Under do blue PC again. What happened? I'm having three subnets, so I'll select one subnet. And this one you should always make it as an enable. See, now you have to come down here. Now you have to say next. Now you can go here, add anything, my new server, something, give, add it. Now you can go to the, see, here having your security group, sir. Click on the security group and you'll say review and I'll say launch. See, and I'm using the same key. I'm not worried about this. See, you have created your own machine, which is using your, your defined VPC, your defined subnet and everything, right? So you know very well that now I can able to access this server. I know that we took a lot of time today for showcasing this, but this was important just to show that how Terraform will work. See, now today what happened, right? I manually did the internet gateway, I manually added the routing table, I manually added the subnet, I manually added the VPC and all. Suppose tomorrow you don't want to do this, you want to do it automated way. And in the Terraform, how to do that, we have to learn. That's what is required. And that is what will be asked in the interview also, sir. They'll ask you, please create the VPC with this CID range. Please create a subnet with this range. Please create a routing table. Please create internet gateway. Please create the endpoint like this. Please create an ad gateway like that. What happened? There will be a requirement will come where you need to understand. So before doing everything, right, we need to understand how to do it, manage. That's what we do. See, now you have come up with this. Now you know that I can click on this. I got, so this is my public IP, you know very well. So I'll just copy it and I will go. So that is, so I have allocated the Amazon Linux, right? Okay, sir. See, I'm able to log in into this machine. Correct, sir? I will switch to the super user. If I'm able to ping to google.com, I'm able to ping to this machine. Or else you want to ping to the main DNS 8.8.8, I can ping. It means that basically, see what you did right here, by sitting over here, I'm trying to ping to the outside world where the google.com is hosted, right? So how I'm able to do, because whenever you are sending a traffic, apart from this subnet, right? Apart from this 10.0.0, any other network you're sending, always the traffic will flow to the internet gateway. So that's how it is working. Is it clear, sir? Till here? Sir, are you clear? This is just a small example to showcase like how you can create your own routing table, how to create a subnet, how to create a VPC, and how to create a security groups. Clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Rajesh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it is good. So now what is happening is that, yeah, it's good that we have understood how to do it. So let me do one thing. Let me stop this instance. Okay, I've stopped it. Fix it out. Don't want this. Later I'll try to, later I'll try to remove all these resources, or whatever I created, blue VPC and all, right? If you want, I will show then how to do it, but later I will do it actually. So now what is happening is that actually, so I'll close all these windows. Okay. So now when it comes to the here, now you could see that now you will understand very easily. Now you could see that I need to create a VPC, and after I create a VPC, I need to create a subnet, and after the subnet, I want to allocate some network card or network instance to provide some IP address. So this is a simple way. Now, and after creating VPC and all, now I want to create an instance actually with this AMI ID, something with the T2 micro, right? And what is the credit? What are the CPU credits you want to? We want to get the CPU credits unlimited, right? Like that. So what I can do, I can basically I can copy paste this completely like this. Copy it. Now I will go to my machine where I'm having a main.tf. So I'll do one thing. I don't want these things actually. Basically, I will try to remove this. I don't want all these things. Okay. Now I'll also see that if I want this or not. Okay. I will try to remove this stuff also. Let me check first whether my my cloud is terminated. Okay. This is my new server, so I'll terminate this also. I don't want to run it. Okay. So I'll do one thing. I will try to copy the whole stuff over here. Yeah, this is a file. This is a complete copy, and I'll remove even this is also. Suppose I'll remove. So let this provider be as it is. I'll copy paste it completely. Yes, sir. So now what you are doing is that here, coming over here. You know this very well, providers. We need not to discuss this, right? After that, what you're doing, you're creating a resource. A resource. What is a resource? AWS VPC. It means that whenever you want to create a VPC, you have to see the AWS VPC. See, the same stuff is over here also, sir. What I'm doing, right? What I'm doing, please try to understand. Under the AWS instance itself, I'm having this example. This is an example we examined. Below that, I'm having an example of the AWS VPC also. But if you say, Rajesh, there is a document over here, right? If you come down here, you have a, apart from the EC2, right? You have separate document for the VPC itself. Yeah, there also you can go. I'm not saying no. See, you come down here. If you come down over here, Come down. Yeah, come down. See, here you have VPC, correct? Now you'll say, Rajesh, I want to create a VPC. See, I can create a VPC. How to create a VPC? See, AWS VPC. See, AWS route table, AWS security groups, AWS subnet. See, you can make it easily. You can say you can go here also, sir. No problem. Here also they'll give the same examples. They'll give how to create a VPC. See, they have given a VPC. How to create a VPC, right? They have given an example. You can go through it. It's a very simple, same thing only. But here I'm referring to this document. So no problem. Here also I am having a small example of how to create a VPC. So I just copy pasted from here into this main.tf, right? Now what I am doing, I am creating a VPC of the VPC by name my VPC. Fine. You are giving a CID range, block range, or you are giving a range actually. That is 172.16.0.0/16. Fine. What is the VPC name you want to give? In my case, earlier I gave the VPC name as a blue hyphen VPC, correct? Blue hyphen VPC, right? You know that, right? But here I'm giving something a TF hyphen example as a VPC name. No problem. I will stick to this documentation itself. I'm not editing any of this name also. Okay. Now coming here, after you create a VPC, within that VPC, I want to create a subnet, right? So what is the resource name? Resource name is AWS underscore subnet. Okay. What is the name of the subnet? In my case, I give the name as a subnet one, subnet two, subnet three, right? Subnet hyphen one, subnet hyphen two. I'm giving something like the my subnet. So basically, I'm trying to create only one subnet. Okay, fine. So I'm using the VPC ID. So what I'm doing, see, AWS underscore VPC dot of my VPC. Oh, it means that you are referring to this resource. So it is that you are referring to this. So here you're using this reference APC AWS underscore VPC. Fine, of my VPC of ID. This ID is something like it's your variable within this block. Now, what you are creating a subnet with, what subnet range you are creating? I'm using that 172.16.10.0.0/24. Okay, where I'm creating the availability zone as US West 2A. But here, what you have to do that it is not US West 2A, it is US West East hyphen 1A, right? So what you have to do that you have to come over here and do the changes here. Just you have to do this small change actually, because here otherwise it will do a mismatch, right? Because you are specifying the providers as East 1A 1, but here you are creating a subnet in some other region, right? So that is not applicable. So you have to give a proper availability zone actually, US East 1A, right? And here what is the name you are giving? So for the subnet also you are giving a tag or the name. It is also with the example of TF example. No problem. I'll fix to the same value whatever it is stored in this example. So come down here. What you are doing here, you are creating one like a network card instance like AWS network interface, and the name is foo something. And what is the subnet ID? So I need to provide a subnet ID also. You have to say same thing. You are referring to AWS subnet, AWS underscore subnet dot of my subnet dot ID. Okay, it means that you are referring to this subnet. It means that basically in this range, subnet range, right? You are allocating one private IP for your particular network card or the reference card, and that name of that reference card will be foo actually. And here you are giving the private IP range of 172.16.10.100. Means that it is falling under the subnet only, right? So it means that for a particular network card, you are fixing this should be an IP address actually. And what is the name? What is the tag you are giving? You are giving something like primary underscore networking. Fine, you can give your own name, but that is fine. After that, you're coming back here. After this all allocated, what you're trying to do, you are trying to create your own network instance, or sorry, EC2 instance actually. So that is AWS instance, and the name is foo. Okay, fine. Here you have to provide the AMI ID. Now you know very well that actually I have to give a AMI ID of your what? Of your instance, right? Come over here, launch instance. See, I will be giving the same AMI ID. So I'll copy this ID. Come here. See, because this is referring to some US West 2, sir. So here also the mismatch will happen. So better like you give the proper AMI ID actually. So I'll do one thing, I'll remove everything from here. Yeah, you can ask me any doubts if you have. Mm. Okay, and this is T2 micro, fine. And here network interface card, okay, network interface ID is nothing but AWS underscore network interface of 4 of ID, that is what you are giving, and network index is 0, okay, fine. And here you are giving the credit as unlimited, that's fine. So this is what you're doing, sir. Okay, so this is my complete TF, and you know very well that actually the bracket should always close, right? Here, see, the bracket is getting closed over here because like you have a tax here, so this should match, okay, fine. Here also you could see that the bracket, the opening bracket should close with the closing bracket. So this you should make sure always whenever you are writing a Terraform file, right? You should always make sure, right? Now, so now my stuff is ready, so I'll just try to run this. So before doing that, let me do a Terraform validate. Let me check if there is any syntax error. If there is any syntax error, it will throw error here itself. It says that success, the syntax is correct. Now we'll say Terraform. Before I do an apply, let me check the plan. Let me do a dry run to verify whether things are working. Okay, fine, sir. Things are working fine. So now I'll do a Terraform apply. Okay. Now you could see that there are four has to be added. What are those four? One is a VPC, one is a subnet, one is a AWS underscore network interface, and other is the last one is the AWS instance, right? So that's what it says actually, that there are four things which has to be added. We'll say yes. See, you could see that VPC is getting created VPC, subnet is getting created. See, network interface foo is getting created. At the end, AWS underscore instance is created, sir. See, like this way, these are the four resources it got created, sir. Yes, now it's created. So we'll go back to here, go back to our instance. We'll verify whether the instance is up. See, you could see that actually your instance is up. Okay, so I have not basically what happened, right? I should have given a tag over here. If you see an example, right? See, if you see it here for this AWS instance, right? Actually, you have not provided a tag. See, you have to provide the tag like this. So then what happened if you provided tag, the name would have come over here. So here, since I'm not providing any tag, right? It is no, it is not giving anything over here. So that's what always make sure that whenever you're creating any resources, for every resource, the tag has to be given. Fine. So that is okay. So the instance is created. Okay, fine. So we'll go to the VPC. We'll go to the service. I'll go to the VPC. I'll just check whether in the VPC, this particular VPC has created or not. What is the VPC name? A tag will be something like a TF example. See, come over here. See, VPC. See, it has created. See. TF example. Okay. What about the subnet? I'll go to the subnet. Subnet also see TF example. See TF example subnet has created. So in this way, you can make out easily that yes, we are able to create a VPC, we are able to create a subnet, we are able to, make use of all these resources in. We are able to create, sorry, all those resources with the help of a Terraform. That's what we can understand, right? Clear, sir? Now, if you don't want it, you know very well that I will do a Terraform destroy. So it will deallocate everything, right? Or it will destroy all those resources, right? Okay, it has destroyed everything, right? Again, same thing. If you go over here and if you do a refresh, see, your subnet has lost actually. Similarly, you go to the VPC, your subnet is lost. Oh, sorry, your VPC is lost. Like whatever the TF hyphen example, right? That is lost. And if you come back to your EC2 instance, right? See, even that instance also is lost. See, everything is lost. I mean, everything is destroyed actually, right? Sir, are you clear till here? It's pretty easy, right? It is not that difficult to understand, right? It's easy, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's very easy.
Yeah. Any doubts you have, sir?
As of now, no doubts that it's difficult to understand.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
I thought, yeah, when our variables are coming, that time we are facing the problem to understand.
But you could see now what I'm doing. I'm not doing any no any extra thing, right? I'm just copy pasting from the document. I'm doing it.
Yes,
Yeah, it's easy only. See, you can practice it. Now, what has happened right now? It is an open for you. You can practice anything. You say that Rajesh, I want to create my own routing table. I want to create my own no NAT gateway. I can even create my own internet gateway. See, you have all those resources, sir. Actually, you can go through it. You can explore yourself. Actually, see,
yes.
you can do an explore of yourself. Here, what happened after doing that? We can even go with the argument reference, right? Attribute reference. Many things are there in document. You can go through it one by one. You will understand everything easily. So that is what the Terraform. It is very very simple to use actually, sir. If you understand this document very well now, sir, how to use this document in your Terraform file, right? You can write any kind of a Terraform or any kind of requirement provided to given to you, right? With the help of this document itself, you can do it actually. So that much is that much flexibility, hashtag card they have given it. Yeah. All full complete documents with very good examples they have given, sir, so that you will learn very quickly, very fast. You can learn. And in interviews, sir, majority of the interview, they will ask this question only. They will say that please create a, resource of like where I need a VPC, where I need a subnet, where I need to create internet gateway, right? Where I have to create a route table, security groups, and finally I have to create these two things in two different regions and do a VPC pairing and check whether no they're able to communicate each other or not. Like that, they will ask. This is a very common question everywhere they'll ask. They'll actually they will tell you to write in a paper, sir. Or else nowadays, if you are giving an interview through online, right? They will share your. You have to share your screen. You have to write or you have to type the whole stuff in your notepad actually.
Oh,
So what you have to do that you have to just glance these things and you have to remember. You can write it down one time in note paper or you can type it one time to make sure that you are confident enough to write it properly. That only you have to take care. That's all. Other
yes,
things are all simple only. You cannot say that no, I'm going to a documentation, seeing that copy pasting. Yeah, that is fine when you're at work, but when you're giving an interview, they'll expect you to write the whole stuff, like the whole stuff, right? I mean, you should remember each and everything actually. Or else you are doing some mistake also, no problem, but you have to give write the properly to correct way you have to write it, sir. Hmm? Okay, sir. Now, okay, so now we destroyed it. What is the next thing? See, we understood how to create a VPC, how to create a subnet. Can we understand how to create a key pair now? So key pair is nothing but actually, sir, you need to you have to whenever you're creating a instance, right? You need to even assign a key pair also. You need to create a key pair, assign it to that your instance, so that you will be able to log into that instance, right? Now here, when you create any resource, for example, I'll do one thing, sir. I'll open the main.tf file. Okay, I'll remove all these things, sir. Okay, I'll remove all these resources. I don't want it. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll copy this. I need this tag actually. Okay, I've already copied it. So let me have this resource, sir. Let me keep this resource. I will not delete it. So okay, sorry. I think yeah. Let me keep these resources. So I don't want this network interface and all. So this also I'll delete it, sir. I don't want it. But I don't want this. So now what I will do, I'll just add the tag actually. I'll add this tag because I need a tag, right? I'll add this tag. So I'll do one thing, I'll do some changes also. Here I don't want to give the name as a foo. I'll keep the name as something like a my cloud server. But here also I will change the tag name as a my cloud server. My cloud server. Here, sir. I'll save this file. So just we'll verify one more time. Okay, this is a providers, this is a resource, AWS resource, my cloud server. Okay, and this is a AMI. So AMI I know very well. This is for Amazon Linux, and the instance is 22 micro, and the tag is nothing but my cloud. Same tag. What are the same resources there, right? AWS. The same name I'm giving a tag also, but that is this fine. So here, when I run a Terraform validate, it will show that whether the syntax is correct. Fine. So I will not run any Terraform plan. I'll just try to run the directly. I'll say Terraform apply. So what I'll do, it will just basically create one EC2 instance, right? Which we have seen already. Correct? Okay. Okay, sir. So it's created. I'll go back here and I'll go to the instance and I'll just check it out. So we have got one EC2 machine with the name my cloud server. Fine, right? If I click on into this instance ID, okay, come down here, and if you see the details info, see the key pair, nothing is there, sir. See, but if you go back to other instance, right? This instance, like for example, which I created, right? Terraform instance. If I click over here and if I come down and if I give to details, now you could see that the key pair is K8S, right? Because oh, okay, with this K8S, I'm able to log into this machine, right? But whereas this machine doesn't have any key pair. Clear, sir? How to create a key pair actually? So before that, let me destroy it. Okay, how many times will we be playing this, right? Terraform apply, Terraform destroy. So this you have to practice a lot, sir, actually, like this. So I'm destroying the instance. Now what I will do, I will go with the key actually. Now to do that, if I go to the AWS document here in the AWS instance, if you come down into the argument, you could see something known as a key underscore name actually. Come down here. See, key underscore name actually. Now you could see that it is an optional key. It's an optional, or you need to provide the key name, which will be managed by AWS key pair resource actually. If you click on here, right here, click, it will take you to that resource actually where you can use the AWS key pair. See, you can just copy paste this actually. Or else you come down here under the AWS instance only. Here under the AWS instance only, if you come here, you have one resource with the known as AWS underscore key underscore pair. Same thing, sir. See, AWS underscore key underscore pair. Same document I'm opening over, but here I'm directly opening from here itself. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I'll just copy paste this, sir. Actually, I'll just copy paste this. So let me check whether it is destroyed. Yes, it is destroyed. I'll open the main.tf file. I will come over here. I will just copy paste this. Okay. Now what it is saying that actually it says the resource AWS key pair and it is using some name as a deployer. Fine. What is a key name? Something deployer hyphen key, some name it is using, and here it is specifying the public key actually. So what I will do that I will try to do the changes here. What I will do, I'll say something my cloud key. something my cloud key. I'll give, correct. I'll give this name my cloud key. Here also specify the same name, sir. What is it? My cloud key. But I need to create a key, right? I need a public key. This is some example they have given, right? So I cannot use this key, right? This is some public key, right? So what I will do, I will delete it actually. I will try to delete this. I'll delete it. So I need to have this. So I need to provide the public key. To provide the public key, I need to create, right? I need to create SSH key. What I will do, I'll go here. I'll open a duplicate sessions. Okay. I'll open a duplicate session. Just to the super user. Then what I will do, I will create a SSH hyphen key. Then I'll create a key actually. Here what happened, right? See, enter the file which you have to save it actually. So I will give the key name is my cloud key, right? My cloud key. Enter, enter, enter. Now you could see that once you have created it, if you do an ls, you could see that there's a something as a my cloud key private, my cloud key public. It's there. So I'll open the my cloud key dot public. See, this is a SSH key, right? I will copy this actually. I copied it, come over here and then paste it actually. Clear, sir? Clear? Now you have created it, correct? Now we'll save this file. Now we'll say Terraform validate, just to check the syntax, sir. First, if it works or not. Terraform validate. So the configuration is fine. I will not do any plan and all. Let me directly apply, sir. So here what you are doing, that you are creating a key. Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed one thing. I'm sorry, I will tell you what is the miss. I'll first destroy and later I'll show you. One thing, you have to tell to the instance, right, which is your key. Otherwise, how the instance will know? Correct. So I missed it, sir. I will see. So let me destroy it. Later again, I will show you. Okay. Oh, why it took so much time? Okay, create it, but I don't want to do that because this anyway it will not work. I'll better do a Terraform, a destroy I will do, sir. So what is the mistake which I did, right? After creating a key, right, I have to tell to the AWS instance, right, where is the key or what is the key name, correct? I didn't provided that detail at all. Then how the instance will know that which is the key, right? So that one thing. So if you come over here in the documentation, we saw, right, that we are having something like you have to specify what is the key name. You have to specify it, right? So this we missed it actually. So I'll go back to the main.pf, and here what is happening, that here you have to mention that actually. What is the thing you have to mention? See, key name, key underscore name. Okay, what is you have to provide? The key name is nothing but my cloud key. See, my cloud. This is what you have to specify, right? Right, sir. Here I missed this one. You have to mention, because while creating AC2 instance, AWS instance, right, it should know to which key it has to attach, right? Here I created a key pair, fine, but it has to know it. That's what you have to pass this variable, right? So this is now, it will work now. Save it. Terraform, I'll just say directly apply, right? I'll say yes. Sorry. Okay. Now it is created. Now I'll go back to my AWS and I'll check whether the servers are created. Yes, the MyCloud is created. Click on to this instance ID. Come down over here, and now you could see that, see, your key has been attached. See, MyCloud key. And if you come over here, if you come down here, and you could see that actually that your key is also there. But where is the key? The key is in security group. So see here, the key pair is there. Click on it. Now you could see your key is being created over here. Clear, sir? Now you are able to log into this machine with the help of this key. Clear? So this key is already attached. Actually, my cloud server is running. So this key is attached. See, this key is attached. Is it clear, sir? Till here, sir. Are you clear?
Yes, yes, Rajesh.
Okay, great, sir. So
Yeah.
what we will do? Okay, we'll wind up the session today because we have already we have already went through many other things. So what we will be starting tomorrow in the day 4, we'll be starting the security groups, how to create a security groups, and after that we will showcase like how to create an AMI and all, what are the different ways of creating an AMI and all, how to copy it between from one region to other region, that everything, and we will see it tomorrow, sir. Actually.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Hmm? Okay, sir, great. So I think we can stop it.